Hey everyone, welcome back. STG Logistics just a few hours ago filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in a New Jersey federal court. Now, this is a same day filing and it's the biggest freight restructuring we've seen all year. Granted, it's only 12 days into the year so far, but it's still the biggest one. Not because STG is shutting down, but because of why they're having to restructure. And we obviously have some questions. So let's dive into them. This is a pre-negotiated Chapter 11 filing, which means it was negotiated largely before the filing ever hit the docket. Now, this plan wipes out roughly $1 billion in debt and injects $150 million of new capital into the business. Now, what does this capital, this new $150 million, what is that set to do? That new capital is intended to keep operations running, pay employees and their benefits, pay vendors, and maintain customer programs. Now, I haven't heard or don't see anything in there about carriers and their payments, but I'm assuming keeping operations running and pay vendors would fall into that category, but we're still waiting to see any confirmation of that. STG expects to come out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy in about 5 months. Now, I want to talk about the scale of STG and kind of who they are and how big they are, because this is not a small company that's quietly restructuring. They're actually pretty big when it comes to the intermodal side of things. Now, they operate nearly 100 transload and container freight station facilities across the U.S., about 15,000 or more 53-foot containers, roughly 3,000 tractors. Now, those are not, that's kind of their network. Those are all largely owner-operators that are leased in or just their owner-operator network in general. And then they have an outside about 25,000 of their carrier network that I believe that they use as a brokerage side. Now, they also provide intermodal drayage, cross-border, intra-Mexico, full truckload, and LTL services as well. Now, operationally, STG says it's business as usual. Employees are still getting paid, benefits remain intact, vendors are continuing to get paid, and the customer freight is continuing to stay moving. Now, it looks like the immediate pain is being absorbed mostly by the lenders and equity holders, not the drivers, warehouse workers, and customers. And that distinction matters because STG sits at the center of a critical intermodal and port-to-port freight flows. They move a lot of those kind of movements. But to understand the filing in general, you really have to zoom out and how they got to this point. Now, STG was acquired by WindPoint Partners in 2016 and grew rapidly from that point through aggressive acquisitions, roughly about 10 of them, quadrupling in size in that time. The biggest move you guys may remember came in 2022 when STG bought XPO's intermodal business for right around $710 million. And that deal added chassis, containers, tractors, and facilities, making STG a vertically integrated, asset-heavy operator. It also added significant leverage, but all of that happened right before the freight market rolled over. And I don't have to tell you guys, if you guys are watching this video, you guys already know since late 2022, demand has been really under pressure. Same thing with rates. They took a tumble, volumes softened, imports slowed, and intermodal really got squeezed. Asset heavy carriers, but that have lots of, these doors, these chassis, facilities, containers, they were, have a lot of fixed cost and revenues declining. So it's kind of seeing the inevitable here. But STG continued to expand in 2023. They bought Best Dedicated Solutions and had a $300 million debt and equity raise in 2024. So obviously for STG, Chapter 11 became a tool about leverage, essentially, because with this prolonged freight recession, they could no longer continue down this path. So it really allows STG to strip out a lot of the unsustainable debt that they incurred. It resolves disputes with some of their minority lenders. So there's just a lot of upside to them, especially if some of those smaller partners of carriers and those guys are not getting hurt. This bankruptcy, this filing still shows what the realities of the freight market are today. It's still not, getting much better over the across the entire board. So it's going to take a lot more, probably the rest of this year before we see significant turns in the freight market, especially across intermodal and some of these more specific markets. But again, as you can see, scale doesn't protect you in the long run in a downturn. It really magnifies the risk, which is what we see with STG, because they bought in on so many companies and grew so aggressively, which can work for a lot of companies. And it did work for STG for a while. But again, when we hit that downturn, that prolonged downturn, they took on so much in such a short time, and then immediately that downturn happened. And obviously that's happened to a lot of companies, but they just couldn't sustain it for the long term going further. So this definitely won't be the last restructuring we're hearing about. Companies that expanded really aggressively in that like 2020, late 2020 to the late 2022 point. There's still a lot of stress ahead even now. So we'll see who the impacted players are going to be going forward. But clearly we'll see if STG and how this bankruptcy plan is executed, and see how they emerge from that, and how the courts decide everything. Obviously, it's better for them to be able to come out of this clean and be able to continue to operate. But we'll see how carriers, how customers, and see how everyone wants to continue operating. The bigger takeaway: this isn't just them; it's obviously a bigger portion of what it is. It's just a symptom of a broader impact, a broader issue of what's going on in the market. A lot of what we've talked about over the last couple of days, including non-domiciled drivers, what the USPS is doing, what Sean Duffy is doing in the FMCSA, and how they're being very aggressive with states and cutting federal safety funding. So if you like updates like these and what we've put out over the last couple of days, make sure you hit that like button. Helps us get out to other freight people just like you who are watching this and wanting to stay up to date. And also don't forget to subscribe. That helps us out a ton. It'll also help you stay alert. So make sure you hit our bell icon as well. That'll also give you updates whenever we do have new videos drop. So if you do like our content, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you guys continue to think freight.